Is NoFap actually legit? Or just another hyped up self-help trend? Well, I practiced NoFap and semen retention for 3 years straight. And over those 3 years, I experienced the highs and lows that most guys never even talk about. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down some of the craziest personal stories I went through. Stories that reveal the wildest benefits, the hardest challenges, and the truth about NoFap no one is telling you. So if you're thinking about starting NoFap, or you're already deep in the journey, this is one video you do not want to miss, bro. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, you're just stuck, living a life that doesn't even feel like it belongs to you? That's exactly where I was before I started NoFap. I was lost, depressed, full of anxiety, and I had zero sense of purpose. I mean, I felt like a damn zombie. I'd wake up, go to school, come home, play video games, watch porn, maybe even hang out with friends once in a while. But deep down, I was completely hollow. I didn't believe in myself. To be honest, I didn't even know who I was to believe in. But once I started NoFap and successfully stuck with it for a few months, something in me started to shift. Once I hit what I call NoFap Phase 2, or the Super Saiyan phase, which if you want a more detailed explanation, check out the video on screen now. Either way, I literally started feeling like I was turning into a superhero. Why? Because my energy exploded, my focus locked in, my confidence skyrocketed. It was like every part of me that used to feel dead started to come back to life, and my anxiety drastically reduced to most of the time basically gone, to the point where when I did feel nervous, it was actually fun to me. And you don't understand how wild that is unless you've been in my shoes. I mean, I used to get anxious at the smallest tasks, like just ordering food at a restaurant, and now suddenly I felt powerful, clear, and fully in control of my body. The craziest part is it wasn't just surface level changes that I experienced. I mean, I started developing this deep intuition. Like, I finally started seeing myself clearly for the first time. I was doing deep shadow work, discovering all these parts of me I never even knew existed. And through all of that, I was able to find my purpose. In fact, I found a mission so strong that even now, 7 years later, I'm still chasing it with everything I have. It's crazy to say it out loud, but after 3 years of NoFap, I had literally transformed my life from a weak, insecure, depressed version of myself to someone driven by purpose, disciplined, confident, and actually excited to be alive. I basically became him on NoFap. And here's the thing, I know right now it sounds like it, but it wasn't all perfect. Because while I was unlocking new levels of myself, there was one part of me that became severely warped. And it had everything to do with how I saw sex and pleasure. That's why in the next section, I'm gonna break down what really happened to my sexuality during those 3 years of semen retention, which I don't think anyone is talking about. Have you ever tried fixing one part of your life only to accidentally break another? Well, that's exactly what happened to me, and it's something I don't hear enough guys talk about when it comes to NoFap. So let's talk about the dark side. Because while there's a ton of power in NoFap and semen retention, it also comes with some serious pitfalls if you're not careful. And one of the biggest ones I experienced was developing a warped sense of sexuality. At first, it was innocent. I started NoFap because I wanted to break my porn addiction, probably like you. And naturally, that meant retraining my brain to stop reacting to every sexual urge that I experienced. But somewhere along the line, I started to take it too far. I started to not just reject porn, I started to reject my entire sex drive, bro. I mean, every time I'd feel arousal, I'd shut it down like it was something dirty. And that constant rejection of my own sexuality, it started showing up in the way I interacted with women. I mean, I'd avoid intimacy, I'd sabotage potential relationships, and I didn't even realize it was happening at the time. It got so extreme that one day, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I literally remember standing in the shower, looking down at myself and thinking, man, I don't even need this anymore. And unless you're about to become a monk or take a vow of celibacy, that's a serious fucking problem. And that's when it hit me. I hadn't just eliminated a bad habit, I had programmed myself to fear the most natural part of being a man. And that fear was killing my ability in real time to form real sexual connections with women. So once I realized this, I basically started doing the work to undo the damage. I forced myself to start talking to women again. I mean, and it was not easy. After over a year of suppressing that part of myself, I had built a habit of self-sabotage, and it was definitely not easy undoing. But on the bright side, what I did learn through that process was this: porn is the enemy, not my sex drive, not even masturbation when done consciously, to be honest. It's the addiction, the mindless overstimulation, and the shame spiral that comes with it that wrecks you. not the fact that you're a sexual being. And once I separated the two, everything started to change. Because once I stopped demonizing my urges and learned how to master them instead of running away from them, I unlocked something that very few men ever discover. And in the next section, I'll show you exactly what that looked like and how I became what I now call a sexual magician. By the way, if you're tired of just watching videos without getting any results, book a 15-minute consultation with me. Also, if you want a free ebook to help you reach any goals you want, sign up for my email list. Finally, if you got a quick question, drop it in the comments. Have you ever felt like your energy alone could pull someone in before you even said a word? I know it sounds wild, but after being on NoFap for over a year, I felt like I became a literal sexual magician. Not in some woo-woo fantasy type of way. I'm talking real world physical energy that I could feel in my body and project out into the world. Hear me out, because I know it sounds crazy, but on NoFap, your sex drive is supercharged. All that energy that used to get wasted, you feel it now. You carry it. It radiates off you in a way that's subtle but magnetic. And after practicing retention for a year and a half, I started to notice women giving me more subtle attention, like more than I was used to. Women I didn't even know would start orbiting around me, making eye contact more often, positioning themselves closer than usual. And at first, I kind of doubted myself. I was like, is this really happening? So I just brushed it off. But over time, it got so obvious that I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I started to realize that this was coming from me practicing NoFap. I mean, the best way I could describe it is it literally felt like they could sense that I was retaining. And if you thought that was weird, here's where things get even weirder. I started noticing that I could sense when a woman was attracted to me. Not through her body language or how she was talking, but just through her energy. It felt like a literal magnetic pull, and I could actually focus on that pull and amplify it with my own energy. And I really didn't believe it myself until this day. I remember this day very clearly. It was one day in college, and I was sitting in class just chilling, and this random girl sat down 2 seats in front of me, and I didn't even find her attractive. I wasn't horny, I wasn't trying to do anything. But as soon as I focused on her, I felt this like instant surge of sexual energy hit me like a wave. It was almost like I had tuned into her frequency. And the more I focused on her, the stronger the energy got. And I knew it wasn't my own energy because when I stopped focusing on her, bro, it faded. When I focused back on her, it came back instantly. And the whole time during class, she was playing with her hair, fidgeting, and crossing and uncrossing her legs. Now, of course, maybe she was just nervous or uncomfortable or whatever, but I don't think so. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these are all also things that girls tend to do if they're really horny. So personally, from my experience and intuition, that was sexual energy. And once I started actually thinking that I was able to do this, I started to consciously use it and tap into it whenever I was having real interactions with women. But the times I did do it, more often than not, the girl would match my energy. She'd lean in, she'd open up, she'd be more receptive to what I was saying. I kid you not, it honestly felt like a cheat code, which is why I felt guilty using it. But over time, as powerful as the benefits I experienced on NoFap were, there actually came a point where things started to shift for me. Because eventually, I started to realize I didn't want to practice NoFap forever, which made me start questioning everything. And also led me to what I'll be talking about next. Why I ended up quitting NoFap. Have you ever gotten so good at something that it almost became like a part of your identity? Like so much so that the idea of letting it go feels like you're risking everything. Almost feels like you don't know who you'd be at that point. Well, that's exactly where I was with NoFap before I quit. I mean, I had practiced NoFap and semen retention for over 3 straight years by this point, and it completely changed my life. I went from being lost, depressed, anxious, insecure, to confident, purpose-driven, and focused. But after a while, I started to feel like I had kind of outgrown it. I wasn't using NoFap as a tool anymore. It had kind of started to become a bit of a crutch. I wasn't watching porn, I wasn't chasing girls, I had control over my urges, but I was terrified that if I'd ever let go of NoFap, I'd go back to who I was before. And I never wanted to be that guy again. So what did I do? I mean, I just kept practicing. Although for a while, I had been thinking about quitting, until one crazy night changed everything for me. So what happened is I matched with this girl on Tinder. She had red hair, curvy body, that kind of soft voice some girls have that just draws you in. She was also chill over text, so I invited her to this park I liked. Brought some drinks, and it was going smooth. We were laughing, talking, having a good time. So I leaned in for the kiss. We started making out, and then mid-kiss, It happened. What happened? I finished. Dead ass, bro. No sex, no build up, just kissing and boom.
What?
And I just remember this because I was sitting there mid-kiss having an internal monologue. Like, bro, did that really just happen? Like, I honestly didn't believe it. And to be honest, to this day, that was probably the most embarrassing moment I've ever had. And when I got back home and checked, that was the moment I decided to quit NoFap for good. I realized that I had held in so much sexual energy for so long, I didn't even know how to use it anymore. And that's when it clicked for me. NoFap had served its purpose. It gave me what I wanted. I was disciplined, I was focused, and I knew the man I wanted to become and was working towards that every day. And now it was time to actually start living as that man without a crutch. And looking back, I don't regret a single day of it. Because the truth is, NoFap 100% changed my life. But like any great tool, you're supposed to use it to build yourself up, not hide behind it forever. And if you're in that part of your journey now, just know this. You don't need NoFap to be great, bro. But if you use it the right way, you can 100% use it to reach the greatness that's waiting to be expressed within you. Because I'm living proof of it. Now, obviously, NoFap is not easy to get into. Realistically, it took me years before I was finally able to successfully start practicing. That's why if you're thinking about getting into NoFap, your next step is to watch this video, where I teach you how to master NoFap in just 30 days.